Right. So today we're diving headfirst into this new blockchain Monad.
Yeah.
They're making some pretty bold claims about, the future of dApps.
Yeah. Bold is a good word for it.
Yeah, and they've got all this like technical documentation about how they're going to do it. So
Yeah.
luckily we've gone through it all for you.
We have.
So you don't have to.
Yeah, we've got their like introductory stuff for regular users, and then we've got the stuff for developers, we've got the deep dives. We even have their suggestions for people who actually want to start building on their platform.
Okay.
So we're talking the whole 9 yards.
So, like, bottom line, what is it that makes this Monad thing different from Ethereum? Like, why should we even care?
So imagine a world where your crypto transactions are basically instant and they cost next to nothing.
All right.
That's the dream that Monad is selling.
Okay.
And their documentation has a lot of interesting details about how they want to get there.
Okay, that's a big promise.
It is.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So they're saying that they're a direct upgrade to Ethereum, like Ethereum 2.0 or something, offering full compatibility but with like a way better engine.
Okay.
Like Monad's documentation even throws out numbers like 10,000 transactions per second.
10,000. Really? I mean, that's got to be way faster than what Ethereum can do now, right? Way faster.
Is that even possible?
It's ambitious, for sure.
Yeah.
But they're not just making empty promises. They got some cool tech behind it.
Like what? So one key thing is something they call Monad BFT. It's their way to reach consensus, which is, how they agree on what order all the transactions go in. It's like a super efficient train conductor that makes sure everyone gets on and off at the right stops, but,
Right.
much faster.
Okay, so that's how they handle, like, the organization of it. But
Yeah.
how do they actually process everything that quickly?
So that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
They use something called deferred execution.
Okay.
And to explain this, let's ditch the train analogy for a second and head into a restaurant kitchen.
All right, I'm hungry. Lay it on me.
All right, so say you're at a restaurant and you order your food.
Okay.
That order, that's like agreeing on a transaction. The chef doesn't actually start cooking your meal until they have all the orders like organized and they're ready to go.
Okay.
That's the deferred part.
Right.
Monad separates the like agreeing on a transaction part from the actual processing part, just like the kitchen separates taking your order from the cooking.
Right.
And this lets them be super efficient and process more transactions at the same time.
So it's like while one part of the system is busy confirming all the transactions, another part's already getting ready to, like, execute them.
Yeah.
Kind of like having different chefs working on different parts of a meal all at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what they call parallel execution. And it's another big piece of how they do it.
Okay.
So instead of processing transactions one by one, they use multiple cores and threads so they can run things at the same time.
Right.
Just like a well-coordinated kitchen staff.
So this is sounding less like a kitchen and more like a well-oiled machine now.
Yeah.
But what about all the data from all these transactions? Where's it all stored?
So that's where MonadDB comes in. It's their custom-built database.
Okay.
And it's made specifically for blockchain tech.
Okay.
Think of it like a high-tech filing system built for speed.
Right.
So everything is stored and retrieved super fast.
Wow, it sounds like they've really thought of everything. But let's bring this back down to earth for a minute. What does all this fancy tech actually mean for, like, the average user,
Yeah.
Someone like me who just wants to use dApps.
Well, the big promises are faster transactions and lower fees, which would be huge.
Yeah, cheaper and faster. Who wouldn't want that?
Right.
But how does that help the average everyday user?
Okay, so let's say you're using a DEX, right? A decentralized exchange to trade some crypto.
Oh.
So on. There's like Ethereum today. That could take minutes to process, and it could cost you a lot, especially when the network's busy.
Right.
With Monad's tech, though, that same transaction, in theory, could go through in seconds, and the fee would be tiny.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But what about the developers, like the people actually building these apps, right?
Yeah.
Do they get anything out of this Monad thing?
Yeah, that's a good point. And it looks like Monad's really thinking about that. Because they know that getting developers on board is, super important.
Right.
So they've made it really easy for them. Like, their platform works with all the tools and languages that are already popular in the Ethereum world.
So you're saying developers can basically take their Ethereum skills and just start using them on Monad right away?
Exactly. They don't need to learn a whole new thing.
That's smart.
Yeah, they even talk about familiar tools like Foundry
Right.
and Hard Hat and languages like Solidity and Viper.
Right.
It's all about making it easy for developers to jump in and start building.
Makes sense. Why reinvent the wheel, right?
Right.
Speaking of building, their documentation goes really deep on how Monad gets these crazy speeds. Anything there stand out to you?
Well, beyond the things we talked about, like the deferred execution and parallel processing, uh, they go really in depth about their consensus mechanism, that Monad BFT thing.
Okay, so back to that train conductor thing.
Right.
That's how they make sure all the conductors or validators or whatever we should call them
Right,
are
validators.
all on the same page. Right.
Yeah, like imagine the conductor announcing the next stop while the train's still moving.
Okay.
It saves a little bit of time at each stop.
Right.
They call it pipelining, and it really streamlines the whole process.
That's clever, but hold on.
Yeah.
This is a decentralized system, right? Like everyone's all over the place.
Right.
So how do they make sure that all the conductors or validators are actually in sync? Like what's stopping someone from going rogue and messing everything up?
So that's where Monad's validators come in. They're like these trusted nodes on the network,
Yeah.
and their job is to make sure everyone's following the rules and staying in sync.
Right.
They're like the guardians of the network, making sure nobody cheats or skips any steps.
So they're like conductor supervisors,
Exactly.
making sure everything runs smoothly.
Yeah, and they have ways to stop spam and keep things secure, even with all those transactions happening so fast.
Okay, this is seriously impressive stuff.
It is.
But I gotta admit, it's still kind of hard to wrap my head around how this affects, a normal person using dApps in their everyday life.
Okay, so let's imagine you're using a decentralized exchange to trade crypto again.
Okay, yeah.
On a platform like Ethereum, it could take a few minutes to go through,
Oh, yeah.
and the fees can be pretty high, especially when it's busy.
I've definitely been there, like, staring at my screen, just waiting and wondering if my transaction went through.
Exactly, but with Monad, that same transaction could go through in seconds,
What?
and the fee would be almost nothing.
Really?
Yeah, that's the kind of speed and affordability that could make dApps way more appealing to a lot more people.
Yeah, now you're talking. That could totally change the game.
Right.
It's not just about the tech itself. It's about making it, easy and affordable for everyone.
Absolutely.
And that's how you get people to actually use it.
Exactly. Think about all the things we do online: shopping, banking, playing games, social media.
Right, right.
dApps could totally change all of those things and put users back in control.
Okay, so we've covered like what Monad's building and the tech behind it.
Right.
But let's talk about the why.
Yeah.
Why should anyone be excited about this?
Yeah.
Like, what's the big picture here? If a blockchain like this can actually work, what would it mean?
Well, that's the big question, right? Because it's not just about the tech itself.
Right.
It's about what you can do with it, the potential impact.
Yeah.
And Monad's vision, if they can pull it off,
Yeah.
could completely change how we think about dApps.
Okay.
Speed, affordability, scalability.
Right.
If they can make all that happen, it would be a fundamental shift.
Yeah. Like, we're talking about a future where dApps,
Right.
they're just as normal as the apps we use every day.
Exactly.
That's a pretty powerful idea.
It is. Think about it. You control your own data.
Okay.
Platforms are more transparent, more accountable.
Right.
Intermediaries are gone, replaced by smart contracts
Okay.
that just run automatically and fairly. That's the dream.
That sounds amazing.
Right.
But is it realistic?
That's the question.
I mean, is the world even ready for something like that?
It's hard to say.
Because blockchain is already pretty complicated for a lot of people, right?
It is. There are definitely going to be challenges, both technical and social.
Right.
But the potential is huge. There's no denying that.
Yeah, for sure. But what about Ethereum itself? Monad's saying they're an upgrade, but are they really? Or is this more like competition?
Mm-hmm.
Could it actually be good for Ethereum in the long run?
Well, it's interesting because, remember, Monad's designed to work with Ethereum.
Right.
Developers could take their existing dApps and put them on Monad's platform where it's, potentially faster and cheaper.
So it's like an express lane for Ethereum apps.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, whether developers will actually leave Ethereum for that or if it'll just make everything bigger overall,
Right.
who knows? It could even push Ethereum to innovate,
Right. To keep up.
Yeah, to get even better and faster.
A little competition never hurt anyone, right?
Exactly. But it goes beyond just the tech stuff and competition.
Okay.
There's a whole philosophy here.
Right.
Blockchains like Ethereum and Monad,
Yeah.
they're all about decentralization, transparency, giving users control.
Okay.
These aren't just buzzwords. It's a
Right.
totally different way of thinking about tech, about its place in our lives.
Yeah, it's not just about faster transactions or whatever.
Yeah.
It's about who has the power,
Right.
giving it back to the users.
Exactly. We're not just talking about code or whatever, but maybe a new foundation for the internet, even for society itself.
Wow. That's a pretty deep thought to end on.
Mm.
Monad definitely gives us a lot to think about.
It does.
Will they be able to actually do all this stuff?
Right.
What impact will it have on blockchain and dApps?
Right.
But I think the biggest question is,
Yeah.
what are we going to do about it?
Right.
As users, as people, how do we want to be a part of all this?
It's up to us.
That's all the time we have for today. But if you want to learn more about Monad, check out the links in the show notes.
Oh, the info's right there.
And let us know what you think. Is Monad the future?
Yeah. Let us know.
Hit us up on social media. Join the conversation.
We want to hear from you.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning.
And stay curious.
Because who knows what's coming next.
That's the beauty of it.